full disclosure before I crack into this, Milo Yiannopoulos has given me a couple of video games in the past. Really. What was it again? Postal 2. Yeah, Postal 2 and its expansion, which featured him as a character you could tear apart. Well, now he's getting torn apart in real life, although less literally. And I've got to say, I'm surprised it took this long. I remember watching that Joe Rogan podcast, because I'm a regular listener. I remember tuning into The Drunken Peasants because he was on, and I heard him say this stuff, and I thought, uh-oh, conservatives aren't going to like that. This is what stood out to me when he was talking with Joe Rogan.
That's a guy.
You know, I lived in Hollywood a while ago.
Did you?
Briefly. And,
did you go to one of his parties?
I went to other people who I won't name of a similar stature in Hollywood. I went to their boat parties and to their house parties and things, and some of the things I have seen have beggared belief.
Yeah? Can you give us like a...
Well, just... I don't want to be indiscreet about specific people.
Right, you don't have to do that.
It's going
just dance around the facts.
Yeah, dangerous, but I can tell you the truth without dropping anyone in it.
Okay.
I mean, some of the boys there were very young. Very young.
And this is really recently?
I don't remember... No, like, I don't know, 8 years ago. I don't remember...
Statute of limitations.
I don't remember whether I ever met Bryan Singer or whether I even knew who he was then. But I knew other people of similar stature, as I say, and there were some very young boys around at that time. There was a lot of drugs and a lot of...
twinks.
A lot of twinks taking drugs and having unsafe sex with older men, and some of these boys were very young.
I mean, I personally found the comment sketchy, not just what I just showed, but other bits and pieces too. And like, now he's saying young boys doesn't mean underage or something like that, but why would he be dropping someone in it if he named them if there wasn't an issue along those lines? And he's saying, very young. Sorry, that sounds sketchy as all fuck to me. What have you been involved with? What have you covered up? If he's not just making stuff up to be an edgelord, you never know, maybe Nyberg ended up influencing him. But assuming it's true, that was his first example after he said he saw things that beggar belief. Does an older person having sex with someone who's younger but still above the age of consent beggar belief? No, I think we know what he's talking about. I find that unignorably sketchy as fuck, as do a lot of other people. Milo said he didn't mean to say some of it the way he did, but I'm not talking about people just finding it sketchy. I expected him to be disavowed and cut off from things much earlier, but it didn't happen, and I did start to think, wow, I guess things aren't the way I thought they were. You know, we'd see Milo go to speak at schools, and the response, the lefty sort of response would be, yeah, I know he's not talking about transgender issues, but think about the trannies when he said these things. I thought we'd see the conservative stereotypical think of the children shine through before now, but apparently he didn't have enough of a spotlight on him. Or people just thought, wow, look at this awesome gay guy offending the other side. And him being a useful weapon was enough for him to avoid scrutiny. But Bill Maher, CPAC, that's enough for some real digging, it seems. And what I thought would happen earlier has happened now. Milo's line that I love, something along the lines of, the only good response to outrage culture is to be outrageous, falls apart when it's your own side that's outraged. So we saw a sort of apology and a resignation from Milo. I mean, there is an explanation and there is a bit of toughness within there, but it's still capitulation, and that is not what we need nowadays. Let's take another person who's been outraged at recently. The press has treated PewDiePie terribly. They've basically abused this man, when he did nothing wrong, unless being edgy is now a crime. So absolutely fuck the press and all that. But what has PewDiePie done? It looks like he's deleted the Death to All Jews sign video because I can't find it on his channel, and there are re-uploads of it on YouTube, suggesting the re-uploads are necessary. Maybe I'm going blind, but it does look like it's not on his channel. And he said this.
I'm sorry for the words that I used, as I know they offended people, and I admit that the joke itself went too far.
Okay then, get fucked. I'm not going to defend you. I'm not going to defend this guy. I'll attack the people doing things wrong to him. Not going to defend him, though, when he won't even stand up for himself, really. Same as when Razer, the computer accessory manufacturer, posted a tweet with a joke about SD cards. They said, S my D, and then apologized because it was so inappropriate. If it's a joke and not something to apologize for. In fact, you should not apologize, especially in today's climate, because You're showing blood. You're putting your own blood in the water. And you're saying, yeah, that's right, jokes can go too far and be absolutely wrong. My choice of words can be totally unacceptable when I'm making an obvious joke or point. No, clash and fight over it. Conflict is good. Don't apologize unless you've actually done something wrong. And if you believe your joke is something wrong and you start saying that that joke is something wrong, you're just as much my opponent in these terms as the people coming after you, because you agree with them. Plus, I don't believe the apology's sincere for 1 second. It's 100% PR. Like when Sargon of Akkad made an apology recently to a woman he took a photograph of and gave out the location of, which also turned out to be her workplace. This woman was very overweight, certainly not conventionally attractive, and had a shirt on that said feminist. Now, because the woman's location was in the tweet, alongside her face, she could easily be identified. Apparently people found her and started sending her nasty messages or whatever. I'm not entirely sure. Something happened enough that there was some controversy. What do I think happened? I think Sargon saw something in real life that he thought was funny, wanted to share with other people who'd think it was funny, took a snap, documented it on Twitter, and just didn't really think about or care about what could or would happen. Which is basically the explanation he gave on Twitter. He said, yeah, I didn't really think it through, which is why I deleted it. I just wanted to document the funny. That's his reason. He just wanted to document something funny. Cool. He did something, he's owning it, and he's owning why he did it. No. For some reason, on his larger platform, on his YouTube channel, his reason for doing it is different. His reason in his apology is totally different to what he said on Twitter. So on Twitter, just wanted to document the funny. On YouTube, though...
This seems like an obvious political statement by Lush to me. And I've since heard, although I haven't confirmed, that the store actually made her wear it as part of some campaign. And even if they didn't make her wear it, they still condoned her wearing something so obviously political. I mean, would they also allow their employees to just wear communist or fascist or any kind of any ideological position that's obviously divisive? Why would a store be backing this? Unless they were trying to be like the new McDonald's, oh, we're a progressive burger store and all that sort of nonsense. And if that's the case, I think people should be aware of that. I think people should be aware of these political positions that corporations take, so we can use market forces against them. This is why I tweeted out, Lush in Cardiff, employee with feminist t-shirt.
I don't buy that for 1 second. Especially when he low-key disses her in the apology.
I mean, I didn't write feminist in Cardiff, or like fat girl in Cardiff.
Fuck me! I'm supposed to be the autistic one. But hey, I mean, it's up to you which explanation he's given that you believe. Do you believe him when he says he just wanted to document the funny? Just document the funny, like he said. And like he said that he didn't think. So obviously wouldn't have thought all of what he said he was thinking in the video. Or do you believe his contrived explanation after he was scared police were involved? About how he was, you know, trying to help the people by documenting yet another chain store pushing an agenda. This is why apologies fucking suck, especially if it's from any kind of public figure. I rarely believe them, particularly when the person giving the apology is seen publicly discussing trying to avoid drama rather than whether it's right or not to apologize. In a thread where the person he's saying is correct, Gary Edwards, identified what Sargon did as mocking this woman's appearance. After Gary said a bunch of stuff including that, Sargon said he's correct. Why should I believe his new political reason that makes him look not as bad? Could it be that changing the reason from just documenting the funny could be part of not causing drama rather than the truth? Who knows? And additionally, people in the public eye apologizing for things helps to set a standard of what's acceptable or not. So it really needs to be only if you think it is the right thing to do. And only if it is 100% straight up and honest. No fuckery. And I think that rarely happens. I think it's pretty much always just PR. All of these examples and more are, I think, basically ways individuals can survive battles but actively lose the war for everyone else. Or at least everyone else who cares about what I care about. If we're going to talk culture war, then there's no side or faction that holds or hasn't sacrificed my values. Which is why I'm going to come up with my own dorky little name. I'm going to say, yeah man, I'm a culture thug. I want to help cultivate a culture of conflict. What does this mean? Not exactly sure yet, but I'm definitely not down with anything that's happening right now. Or at least anything I'm seeing. Everything fucking sucks. Actually, no, I take that back. What doesn't suck is when you try to get people to fight you who are contractually obligated not to properly fight you, and just watching them struggle and watching other people try to protect them for them and not really doing a good job and sort of backfiring and all that shit. It's fucking great. Besides that, though, everything fucking sucks nowadays. And I don't know how it's going to be done, but we need to figure out how to fix this. This fucked up way people give and take hits now. Break this weird, unspoken set of rules behind online communication conflict that just leads to capitulation, slipperiness, and bullshit, when it's really not necessary, or at least shouldn't be. But, as usual, that's just another one of my harmful opinions.